Welcome home. My name is Melissa, and I will be your multi-density cosmic tour guide today and always. We're going to do a little bit of a channeling and talk a lot about frequencies, energies, and projection versus the truth, and what's going on in the energies right now. It's the mid-September 2025. So we shall begin. Have you had a crazy feeling that you just don't understand? Gotta get away from here? Feeling like you should have kept your feet on the ground, waiting for the sun to appear? Good, because that is actually what's going on in the energies. And we've got Ozzy Osbourne here today. We're going to do a channeling with Ozzy. And those are the beginning lyrics of the song Flying High Again. And he's saying, oh no, here we go now. He would like to bring us some messages, and he's got a gift for us today. And he says, I just want to thank all of you so much. He is honored to have been able to walk with you on this earth and walk with you in spirit in his heavenly afterlife on the other side, and being our soul tribe and soul family, all of us who have very much loved his music. He's my favorite musician, voice, song, singer, band of all time. And so I'm really delighted to be able to bring him and bring this to us today. Thank you for the awesome requests and texts and messages. Thank you. So Mr. Osbourne is saying that he loves all of us, loves all of you. And he has been very honored really to walk with us. And what he's saying is that he's bringing us a gift that will help cleanse and clear and optimize our throat chakras and help us with our heart openings and helping us to see the truth in each other, past the tattoos, past the projections, past the fat, thin, tall, short, rich, poor, past everything that is of this earthly physical realm. And he says, one of the things that he has in his, has had in his life is this drive, this fury inside of him. And he brings a big, divine electrical ball of lightning. And he calls it fury for us, for all of us. And he says, in my music, that's sometimes what I got to bring to all of us. And his music, his voice, had the particular frequencies that resonated with many of us. And he was dedicated and committed to his divine calling, which was singing his whole life. And it just brought him great joy to connect with all of us. And he is saying, I am indeed your soul tribe. The bandwidth layer that he resides in the most, like his strongest energies, many of you have as well. And he says some of the music, his music was an energetic match to each of us in different ways and sparked different awakenings in us in different ways. And he says, in my transition, when I got to the other side, there were others that greeted me, and I am in the right place. So he did cleanly get to his true space, past all of the old belief systems and the webs of the darkness that all of us, have been entangled in. And he says, so he's also been breaking free some of those strongholds and chains and those last pieces of traumas and reverberating reverb suffering and yearning and not belonging and feeling unloved and feeling, unconfident and in fear. Those pieces are dissipating and have dissipated, and he's his true self, and he's flying high again. And he says, so welcome to the crazy train, because anyone who's ever been on earth has all those traumas. That was just like 98.9% of everyone has had some extreme PTSD. And he says, depending on who you are or your background or your culture or how you look or all kinds of different things, people judge you differently and project different things upon you. And he says those dark factions, those controllers, those powers that were, those simulated energetic forms of structure that holds or held our earth realms up, that we can call the simulation, many simulations going on. He said has had so much energetic matches with each one of us that are embedded in us of pain and suffering, lots of fear, addictions, hurt, shame, guilt, war, hunger, loss, grief. And he says those are energies that are held and projected upon everything in the fall of humanity. And he says, I have an album called The Ultimate Sin, and you know what the ultimate sin really is? And he's saying it's the separation in all of us, in many layers of who we are with God's source creator. And he says, anyone that's been born on earth in any place, in any country, in any way, has had this disconnection and separation. It was imprinted in us. It was imposed upon us. And in these times, none of us consent to these things anymore. And maybe we never did. So he's saying this went overboard. And he says, all of you that are ground crew understand, and all of you that have loved some of my music have resonated for at least a moment with something that the tones or the frequencies were saying. And he says, remember, there's many frequencies going on around all of us all the time. And they are sometimes agitating or activating, sometimes purposefully, pieces in us and trying to traumatize us or rip us open and traumatize us again. And he's saying, so in that, those are projections. He came here to bring us this energetic ball of fury, divine fury. It's kind of like holy fire, but a little bit more electrical. So he's saying it's a little bit more what we can use through our thoughts, our mind, as we reprogram and rewire day after day after day to stay in those higher frequencies and navigate through our shadow. And he says, and navigate through the shadow of the valley of this gross place that we've been and we chose to be. And he says, again, it was an honor to be able to work on my own shadow, as I am the Prince of Darkness. He says, all the years people called him the Prince of Darkness rock star. And he loved that. He says, when someone's projected it and they all told you that you're nothing and they all told you that you're bad and they all told you this or that and you have a little bit of problems, then you might as well go with it and hold that sign up and go, sure, if you need me to be the Prince of Darkness today. And the truth is that he was very much loving, and he just like the rest of us had issues, had trauma, had ups and downs and addictions, and he lived it for us on camera. And he says, I was honored to do so and just be my true self. And as he went along and got balanced and sober and did it again and got to connect with his family in different ways and learn and grow and expand in different ways, it came through in his music and it comes through in his voice. And he says, I watched all of you, my soul tribe, my soul family, do that as well. And as his perspective has shifted a little bit in spirit, he says, I see the waves going through you. And he says, one of the tools, one of the things that we can do is sing or dance or have a little bit of music on sometimes when we need an uplift. Sometimes some of his music might make us feel strong and powerful and help us sit up straight and feel like we're capable again, or bring that little awakening to many layers of that little rock star in us. And he says, you're a rock star seed. I just resonate with that kind of, those factions, those bandwidth layers of starseed, rock starseed. And he says, so he's watching all of the people, and he says, thank you so much. I can feel the love and prayers and love for my family, compassion and joy. And I got to do my last concert, and he knew he was not going to be here that much longer. He knew. But that was one of the best moments of his life, even though it was hard. He didn't feel good. And he says, that fury that you could see in me on stage over the years, and if you could hear in my voice, I just want to bring to you, it's divine and is part of your calling too. And whatever your expression and creativity and your direction, your calling is, it'll give you a little strength to break those strongholds and curses and attachments and pains, and navigate through your own shadow, just as I did sometimes, on TV. And he says, I'm so proud of all of you. He says, be who you came here to be. Some of you are more quiet. Some of you are loud. Some of you are tall. Some of you are short. And he says, be who you came here to be. It is so beautiful for him. And he felt this through his lifetime, to meet many different kinds of people. And some of them often projected that he was lesser or bad or evil or something, just because he sang songs, and just because he had a tattoo, just because he loudly had a few issues. And he said, I get that. That's okay. They get to have their projection, their ideas or about me or whatever. And he says, I loved seeing and meeting different kinds of people sometimes. And of course, sometimes he would like to be private and everyone to not touch him. But he says, I liked seeing the pieces of everyone I ever got to work with and get to know them a little bit of their own uniqueness. And he says, that's your divine spark, your rock star self. So, some people can't see it all the way and they project, he says, but you can feel it. You can feel the truth of their truth. And he says, I really honor and like each of you, each of us, make the big divine symphony, soul song of the universe, as we connect with source and continue to tune and reactivate into our true divine blueprints. And he says, it's just like tuning a guitar or practicing getting that pitch in perfect order. And he says, I see each one of you breaking those strongholds and chains and those boundaries that were not supposed to be yours, those blocks, those walls, in different ways. And he says, your unique way, your unique perception is needed here on earth. And every day that you can be your true, genuine self, your authentic self, brings that true divinity back into alignment a little bit more and a little bit more, and helps us navigate through the shadow of this earth. And he says, some of you, like me, took on a little bit more than most people can handle of that shadow, and decided to be part of the ground crew, the rock starseed ground crew that helps clean up this earth, this consciousness, this collective, and the consequential collectives within the collective. And he says, my bandwidth layer brings strength and power. And he says, so let's do this, call back all of our energies that were ever stomped on, dimmed, taken, broken, traumatized, wounded, stolen again, abused, and confused. And he says, call every single bit back, every fragmented piece of you back in pure divine wholeness. And he says, over the years, I came back into myself and recognized some of the pieces of my own divinity and my own heart. I love my family and my children. I love all of you so much. And I am so honored to be able to be connected to you. And he's saying in his afterlife, in some ways, not only is he a frequency harmonizer person, still singing, and that is who he was created to be. But he's also a connector or a guide for all of us if we want it. So he can be on your team, our team, if you want. And this is his higher self, and he is doing really well. When he crossed over, there were others that he missed along the way, as friends, his family, loved ones. He says a few animals, and they greeted him and said, "Okay, let's do this. Here we go now." And he says it's pretty good to be expanded and be connected in that divine blueprint place in the universe, and watch as the waves go through the darkness, the shadows, the darkness in this world have been designed to reboot and almost like replay history of the fall of humanity, replay history throughout time. And you know that saying when people say, history just repeats itself. He says this is the end of that. That was the simulation. And he says all the layers of how we perceive are shifting and changing, and we're going to break through the strongholds of the systems and the belief systems and the things that have a hold of us that we let it go, but it wouldn't let go of us, and we didn't consent to. The darkness designed lots of energetic structures to embed and imprint in us and hold on to us in these times. And he's saying, we'll eventually get through it, but he's seeing all of you break a stronghold, break through the chains, start understanding and seeing the truth. And he says it's an energetic match, just as my songs were many times energetic matches for you, for your energy, for the mood, the day you were in, and helped you awaken and open your eyes and have some strength and courage sometimes, and laughter and just bliss. And he says, I am honored. And you know that ultimate sin is separation. Ozzy Osbourne has an album and a song. I think it was from the 80s. Yes. Ultimate Sin was the name of the album. And he says, you know what the ultimate sin is? It's the separation of humanity, the fall of humanity. And he says, please let my Mother Earth live. And so all these years we've been rebooting backwards and having overlays being overlaid by the dark controllers, the dark ones, the AIs, the energetic darkness that designed to keep us entrapped, enslaved, and in the lowest levels while they tried to climb out on top of us. And he says it'll never work. It couldn't, it can't. Seems to a whole lot in our lifetimes as circumstances hurt. We have all been traumatized, and we've all been used, and we all realize we've been tricked by everything. Everything was inverted. And he says, so now you can expect to really, really come into contact and be magnetized with this energetic lightning fury as well of the divine. This is via God source creator that can bring us together with those in our tribe that we energetically click and resonate with, and that we match, and in better ways than ever before, as we continue to navigate through the darkness and remember our stability in these higher realms of 5th, 6th, 7th dimension, and come into our higher selves. Ready for this? And he says, and come into union and recognize that our Mother, Father, God, divine, masculine, and feminine in us are continuing to realign. And you'll recognize the people that you love that are really there for you, even in your worst of days, the worst of days. And in that you will find the truth. And there's seeds of the truth and that will lead you and guide you in the days to come. And he's saying, it's really going to be obvious what our projections, so what other people define you as. And remember, he was called the Prince of Darkness, and he was just finally like, sure, great, okay, woohoo, to be who he came here to be, the rock star he came here to be, as well as show us on TV some, years of family Osbourne things, where they all learned and grew together and hurt and each other and came back together. And he says those true soul tribe, soul family, and soulmates, some of you are looking for your divine counterparts, the twin flames. And he says that is indeed a reflection and a remembrance, the marriage of Christ, that Christos in us, flowing through that divine masculine and feminine in us and balancing. This is the truth of standing in our true divine blueprint, which we could call the true Garden of Eden before it fell. And many other names, the marriage of Christ, the twin flame templates, many layers of all civilizations, he says, are kind of docking and being stronger within that rainbow bridge in our DNA. And he says, I see it. And so sometimes everything is activated in voice and frequency. And he says, you'll see. And each time you listen to some music that you really like, or you sing, or you dance, or you create something, or you're doing your mundane things like doing the dishes, he says, just remember to be thinking in terms of like, how can I align, or how can I help today, and how can I make a difference today. And you'll feel the flow and the pulse and the rhythm of you with the divine, true divine light universe, and feel those strongholds and those worries and those fears and those old belief systems dissipate and break away. And he says, certainly go to healers and therapists and physicians when you need. But just know that you're the ultimate sin that was embedded into you, to me, to them, to those people, to everybody, is being rectified and reversed back out. Even though the old dark systems continue to reboot and overlay that over us, so we forget and get stuck again, or continually be in loops that were the inverted loops. And you'll realize that we are supposed to be in the circle of God and flow with each other. And many of you know your true friends and the people that you belong with. And he says that will become more truthful, easy to see. And he says, we've all been disappointed. We've all been tricked. We've all been, the ugly duckling. We've all been the Prince of Darkness in our own moments. And he says, just know that a lot of those principalities are gone forever. But the programs and the systems and the architectural engineering around us of the simulations are, we're beyond any abominations that we've known. And so those are being rectified within us and outside of us. So keep going and be your true rock star self. And he says it again, I'll help you with your throat chakra opening up if you would like. I'm in that group, that harmonics group, to help hold that throat chakra into perfect optimization and shutting down doors and gateways and things that had access points for the dark ones, the evil ones, the darkness. And he says, so we'll just keep working on it until we get there. And just like everything, it takes practice. And sometimes we mess stuff up the first 2 or 3 times. And he says, and just please know you all belong exactly who you are. You were created just to be you. And this will be, in the days to come, something to expect as well. He says to expect to be receiving all that is good, the divine, the God, source, creator, has his eyes on you and her eyes, as and knows when you have been in trauma, knows when it's a setup or just a projection of these people. And he's pointing at me and he's saying, no one believes those people. They whatever they've done. And he says he had experiences like that too. Any rock star in their own right has a lot of controversy pieces or trauma or, excitingly weird days that other people would love to gossip about. And he says, let them talk. They can't set you up anymore. They can't traumatize you anymore. They can't keep doing that. And he's saying that's where your true people come in. Your true Sharon and comes in and says, okay, I don't like you today, but I've got you. I don't understand what you're talking about, but I've got you. I'm here. And your true soul family, soul tribe, your true friends, your true people will hear you and recognize you as you recognize them. And then the projections pass and people recognize you are really a great person. And we started noticing that about Ozzy Osbourne too, over all the years of his alcohol and drug fueled things and a little bit of Alamo peeing and bats. And, he wasn't always pleasant or perfect. But he showed great change in his life. Not change, but process. So standing up and being himself in stable ways. And he says, I am seeing that with all of you. I promise we are Soul Tribe. And he says he was honored to bring those sounds, those notes, those music notes that reminded us how to feel. And when we were all having addictions, or we were all hurting, or we were all yearning, or we were all needing a little bit of something to make us feel through the hard days and the good days. And he says, so I pull that energy and tune it up. And every time you hear one of my songs, just know that voice will activate that truth in you so that you can be your true rock star selves. And the traumas are being healed, and we are all opening our eyes and seeing the truth. And everyone across the board will recognize that in each other. And true spark of humanity, the true divinity in humanity is tuning up. He's saying, although it still looks really dense and dim, and the truth is those dark things and those dark pieces are projecting so much that they're almost like bringing back old big layers, bandwidth layers of history to process through. And I personally have been noticing a lot of Atlantis coming up. So if you're kind of seeing like Egyptian things around other people or whatever, or Atlantean, similar energy, just know there's recalibration going on. And because those dark beings that brought us separation, the ultimate sin, or the fall of humanity, did that there. And they were almost like mad scientists, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I like you, I love you so much. And then they were just evil and took our energies and cut us from our divine connection with Source. And he says, there'll be no more playing God anymore. And you'll see that like big bowling balls everywhere flying through, knocking down those old belief systems of vengeances and watching someone get hurt and thinking it's entertaining and hilarious and awesome when you could have helped. And he's saying that the vibration and the energies will match in ways that we recognize who our true friends and connections are. And he says the amount of spiritual movement science, where science and spirit comes together. It'll activate our DNA and pull us back into our divine blueprints. So however you want to do it, if you're, is the correct way. And he says, remember to try not to be projecting and judging others. And, there was a huge movement where some of the healers were like all of a sudden, like pointing at people and saying that they're shadowy or dark or something. I was just like, you freaking kidding me? Like, you need to look in the mirror, calling everybody karmics and stuff. Great. If you need to define things or project things like that, great. You should probably keep your hands to yourself. And because the truth is coming out now of who was kind of persecuted and martyred when they weren't even participating or paying attention. And he says, I went through that layer over and over and over. And he says, remember some of the brightest of the bright, the true, what we would call chosen. And he says, chosen are anyone that has a spark of light in them. Humanity is the chosen. And he says, you are chosen for different purposes and missions. And he says, anyone that's a true rock star seed has a lot of controversy, but you will see the truth in them. There will always be something you could pick out or hate or dislike or judge a little bit about somebody, anybody, anyone. But you'll see the true rock stars stand up again and help us, lead us, and navigate as we navigate through the shadows a little bit more in the next layer and the next layer and the next layer, and everything becomes more clear. He says, waiting for the sun to come in. He is flying high again. He wants you to know that he is well and he is safe, and he loves you all. And he's saying God is real, and not a God of vengeance or creepy, hating the karmics or setting somebody up or trying to prove that someone's not as good as you. He says there's nothing godly about any of that. And he says, keep going. And sometimes God's mysterious ways really do show up in ways that are, we can, he says, certainly don't idolize me. I was not perfect. And he says, but for me and my truth, my unique truth, he is perfect. And he says, I see this in all of you as well. You are perfect as you are. And he's saying many of you, they're trying to tell you you aren't healed, and they're trying to humiliate you and shame you and set you up and frame you and make you feel bad. And you're like, that's a really dumb simulation. It's part of the darkness. And he says, keep singing, keep being your true rock star selves, and that aligns you and that marriage of Christ in you, where your Christos is pure and your divine masculine and feminine in you and in your person can meet and really, be who you came here to be and touch the world. Some of us will be quiet. Some of us will be loud. Some of us will be, really making a difference in different ways, seen and unseen, known and known, just by holding our light and having compassion and truth and love and being our true rock star selves with each other. And many of you have a new soul family coming in, new soul tribe. If you have felt like you really didn't belong or you were pushed out or something was just gross and disappointing or ugly, but your true loves, your true family is being magnetized to you. And he goes, again, I give you this divine fury. And it's almost like it's almost like an luminescent, protection around you that Christ did. Protection, but it's got a strength about it. And he says, through this part of the reverb of the spiritual balancing, as we keep opening up our eyes to the 5th and 6th and 7th dimensional layers, and remember that we're in the new earth, and we are doing our grid work, and we're doing our shadow work, and we keep doing our everyday work, and walk with each other, that this protection will just keep us out of those gross things. And he says there are grooming and conditioning going on continuously from the dark sides to tell us to be quiet and oppressed, and it's okay for us all to be poor, and it's all harder, and silencing a whole lot of people. And so just support your whistleblowers, support your truth tellers, support your singers, support your rock stars by telling the truth, being the truth, walking together, and remembering who you are. He says it's really, really cool to watch. And he says, keep going. Again, many of you have many good things to receive, and you're not going to even like go for that lower fallen energy that is telling us like we're not allowed to buy houses anymore, we're not allowed to have rights, you know, that kind of thing. Or love one another. No one will ever love you, they'll always hurt you. And you know, that's not even true. He's saying God is real, and I love you all, and I'm honored to be a guide and a singer of the truth of God's source creator. And this energy, this has Christed pure electric lightning fury for us. And any of you who have had job losses, pain, suffering around finances, if other people are trying to hijack and continue to steal stuff from you, no. Divine fury can keep you aligned. And I'm seeing a few of you maybe move to, if you know where your true love is, if you know how you want to bring the next level, your new part of your expression and the truth here, just know that it continues wherever you're at, however you do it, as you do it with God, source creator. The divine universe will align you and take you to the right places with the right people, and the truth will come out a little bit more. And he says, hold on, all aboard, crazy train's getting ready to go. And he says, everything's going to be okay. Whatever that means to each one of us. He says he loves his family very much, and he's free. He's more alive than we are. And he's going to let us know over time. And he goes, I understand the paranormal a little bit more. Some of those layers, those layers and densities and how things work and ghosts. And he says, I understand a little bit more. Who thought? Because sometimes he would go be with his son who does the paranormal shows and learns about the mysteries of the world and the energies and how science and spirit moves together. And he says, what do you know? I know a little bit more. Some of the stuff he was like, what do I have to do this for? And he's just sending a lot of love. And thank you. Good night. I love you all. God bless you. That's what he's saying. And that's what I want to say to you as well. Also, thank you. Good night. I love you all. God bless you.